whatever.
Oh, that was just an awesome experience out of me there. Right.
Well's out. I'm out of money.
Oh wait, no, I get X4 boost from being in someone else as well.
Okay, okay. The Sundered Doctrine dungeon has been out for a little while now, and people have gotten a decent amount of time to try and obtain the dungeon's exotic weapon, Finality's Auger, coupled with the fact that the puzzle has also been solved within the dungeon to provide you a new catalyst for that exotic in the form of the bait and switch perk. So I thought it was time to take a crack at a DPS build featuring this weapon. Now, I won't lie to you guys, I'm currently not a huge fan of the weapon for various reasons, but that's a video topic for another day. For now, I'm going to try to focus on trying to utilize this weapon in the best DPS scenario, and I believe that to be specifically in the hands of a hunter. The main reason why I believe it's best used with a hunter is for one simple fact. It's a linear fusion with no ways to get ammo back into your mag other than manually reloading it, whereas most of the best linears we have in Destiny 2 right now have access to things like rewind rounds on Queenbreaker, or legendary linears with perks like M-Base Arsenal, rewind rounds, or auto-loading holster. And there's even perks like M-Base Assassin, which lets you front-load all of your ammo before a damage phase to let you shoot for an extended amount of time. Finalities has none of those options, so our best bet is going to be utilizing hunters with their built-in reload options. In particular, I'm referring to Marksman's Dodge, and utilizing our Prismatic Kit to force reload activations through things like Facet of Command. With that said, let's get into the kit and loadout. Here's a quick reminder in case you don't know what this exotic does. So essentially, in simple terms, it has two separate modes. It has a turret mode and a standard linear shooting mode. The turret mode, I'll tell you right now, I am not a huge fan of, specifically because this weapon holds less ammo than most other linears, but also uses up more ammo than those linears. And what I mean by that is, to use the turret mode, you have to sacrifice 3 shots initially just to get the turret up, and then continue your damage phase, whether you want to just use the turret or use the linear mode. Either way, it sucks away ammo very quickly from you, and I think that's a big negative to the weapon. So in terms of a DPS build, I don't think the turret is worth it at all. That said, I did give it a fair shake and trying it out on some bosses in damage phases, so you'll probably see it on the footage at some point in the clips, but I'm just letting you know now, I think the linear mode is the way to go on this weapon, at least in its current state. As for weapons to pair along with it, it's kind of a dealer's choice situation depending on what you have on your account. For example, I ended up trying to use the Icolo Sniper or the Omniscient Eye Sniper. Both are solar-based in the energy slot. One is from just old-school Destiny content. The other one is from the Garden Salvation raid. Both of them are pretty good for a solar sniper, so I tried to rotate between the heavy and a sniper when I ran out of ammo with Finalities. And then in my top slot, I would either go with just a primary weapon, or I would go with Tenacious Mastery, specifically in the event that I want to apply a Darkness debuff onto a boss with Chill Clip, which is one single shot on an enemy, to proc some of my fragments. For our Prismatic Kit, there's nothing really special about it. It's pretty standard, but I'll go over it nonetheless. So our super is, of course, going to be Golden Gun, pairing with Celestial Nighthawk to do a big chunk of damage for our super. And then on our abilities, we have Marksman Dodge, like I mentioned earlier. We want to try to utilize this dodge as much as we can to reload our Finalities as much as we can when we run out of ammo, because it has no self-sustaining reload capabilities on its own. In our melee and grenade abilities, I have a Snare Bomb in my melee to get off a weakening on a boss or any enemy for that matter. This also can proc Radiant with one of our fragments. And then in our grenade ability, we have Dustfield to get a slowness effect on any enemy or boss, which in turn, again, can help with one of our fragments. In my aspects, I have Stylish Executioner for when I apply any of my abilities to an enemy and that enemy ends up being killed. Like, for example, if I throw something and then killed it, I would instantly go invisible thanks to Stylish. It's a good thing to have in a tight situation. The other is going to be Winter Shroud, which is pretty standard for when you dodge near an enemy. You will then slow that enemy and, again, be able to proc Stylish when you kill that enemy. In our fragments, let's start off with the best one. That's going to be Facet of Courage. Basically, this is used to pump up more damage with your Celestial Nighthawk Golden Gun by applying a Darkness debuff to an enemy, whether it's Strand or Stasis. In my case, it's going to be through Stasis, whether it's through your Dust Field, your Prismatic Grenade, or even Tanasha's Mastery by simply just shooting the boss with your Chill Clip perk one time. In our second slot, we have the staple, Facet of Protection, which is pretty much on every single Prismatic build ever. This allows you to be more resistant to incoming damage when you're surrounded by combatants, which happens pretty often in endgame content. So let's just move on. Number 3 is going to be Facet of Command. This is another fragment that helps us utilize our ammo efficiency better. So the way that command works is when you freeze or suppress an enemy, in our case it'll be freezing, you can get a free reload activation on whatever weapon that you're using, as if you are using rewind rounds, except this is like the Temu version. So the idea is going to be you're starting damage, you're throwing your regular abilities, you threw a smoke grenade, maybe used your Nighthawk, and now you're going into your weapon damage, you apply bait and switch for your finalities, and you start shooting it off. Now, as you're doing this, you apply a Prismatic Grenade or a Dust Field, doesn't matter which, and then while your ammo is going lower and lower on your finalities, Command will proc and then automatically give you a free reload into your finalities, taking you back to max ammo in that mag. Which at that point you just continue to shoot off until you get low on ammo, and at that point, since Command has a small cooldown, you can utilize your dodge to get another 6 shots back into your mag, and continue to shoot those shots off. At this point, if the damage phase hasn't ended and you're low on ammo, you can then try to reapply Command one more time to hopefully not be forced to do a manual reload, or maybe by this point you've just straight up ran out of ammo and finalities and have moved on to a secondary weapon like a sniper. For our last 2 fragments, first we have Facet of Dawn, which will apply Radiant to us when we hit an enemy with our melee. In this case, it'll be Smoke Bomb, so we'll be weakening the enemy and also apply Radiant to ourselves when we don't have something like a Well of Radiance to stand in. Lastly, we have Facet of Ruin. This is specifically here to increase the size and damage of the burst when you shatter a Stasis Crystal or a frozen target. So anytime you throw a Dust Field onto a boss, eventually they'll temporarily freeze, that instantly break out of it, which will count as a shatter, and the same thing will apply for our Prismatic Grenade. Eventually it'll quote-unquote freeze the boss, and instantly they'll break out and then cause a shatter. So in a perfect world, your rotation is going to look something like this. You're starting the boss damage phase, the first thing you want to do is throw your Smoke Bomb. This will put the boss on a weakened state, therefore you can just activate your Goldie right away and not wait for anybody else to put a weaken on and do big damage and get that out of the way. So ideally, you want to go Smoke Bomb, activate Prismatic, but don't throw anything yet. We don't want to apply our command too early. As you're activating Prismatic, though, you can activate Goldie on top of that, saving you a second or two of time, breaking the animation early. So your boss is weakened, you shoot Goldie, that damage is done, now you go into the rest of the rotation. At this point, it should be applying your first 2 weapons. One of them would be Chill Clip with Tenacious if you happen to have it. If not, all good, your abilities can do the Stasis debuff instead. So after your first 2 weapons, you then throw your other abilities, your Smoke and your Prismatic Grenade, or your regular Dust Field, depending if you have Prismatic or not. Then you go into shooting your finalities. Bait and Switch should be procced, and you should be getting maximum damage through this at this point. And then about halfway through your mag, maybe 4 shots into your mag, your command should proc, and then automatically reload your finalities back to max ammo. Keep shooting again, and then occasionally, if you want, you can reapply the Smoke Bomb and your Prismatic Grenade during the damage phase, just to keep extra damage on with an Ignition, a Shatter, etc. Lastly, let's go over the mods. So for the artifact, really there's only one thing you need to have on, that's Particle Reconstruction to pump the damage of your fusions and your linear fusions. That's pretty straightforward. Other than that, you can put on whatever you'd like for this build. In armor mods, it is also pretty standard, but I'll go over it real quick regardless. So for helmet, we have 1 copy of Heavy Ammo Finder, because we know this weapon needs the ammo. 1 copy of Slaughter Siphon, if I'm running something like Zuli's Bane in my energy slot to make orbs instead, I would have this on. Then 1 copy of Radiant Light. When I pop my Goldie, I give my teammates armor charges in the event that they need it. Like, let's say I have a teammate who's a well user, they pop well for us, I pop Goldie for them, they get an armor charge. In our gloves, we have 1 copy of Solar Loader, 1 copy of Solar Dexterity, I think that's pretty obvious, and then 1 copy of Bolstering Detonation to grant class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. So we can use our dodge and then also throw our Pris Grenade, and that goes off, giving us energy for our class ability, and if we have to, we can dodge again. In chest, it's just standard resist, Solar Void, and Arc. Put these on depending on what activity you do. Boots, 3 Solar Weapon Surges to pump the damage of finalities and or our energy weapon if you're using like a Solar Sniper. And then lastly, the class item, 1 copy of Special Finisher for the event that I need green. 1 copy of Powerful Attraction to scoop up orbs when I do use my class ability, and then 1 copy of Time Dilation to extend the timer of our armor charges. Anyways, that's the build. As usual, I'll have a dim link in the description below if you want to try it out on your own, and stay tuned for the separate dedicated video what I think about on the weapon. It's not going to be that positive, just a fair warning. But if you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow, and it's much appreciated. If you want to go the extra mile, you can leave a like and or comment below as well. If you don't know what to leave as a comment, you can leave Finality as the comment. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.